What are we doing?
Dude, I don't know.
You need a hug? All right, let's do it.
So I was doing some research.
It's like therapy for us. You're just easing into not having much time on your hands.
And I'm stoked for the journey. What's up, everybody? My name is Brian Boyd.
Are you sure about that?
Yes, sir.
Baby brain. And I am the Zach Gittler.
And we are two dads on a...
Ms. Ike.
What's up, guys? We're so happy to be back live from Studio Boyd. Episode number 10. Dude, we are double-digit episodes.
DAs.
That's huge.
Cheers to that, dude.
Cheers, brother.
Accomplishments, man. Set your goals and you accomplish. Now we're going for the 100.
That's right, baby.
The hundo.
Blue Solo Cup. And remember, if we make it episode 100, do you guys remember what happens?
We're making a
Do you remember?
logo on the cup?
No,
I'm going to get birthed.
I was talking to the nurses about that. They were loving it.
Yeah.
I thought it was the funniest thing ever.
Yes.
Okay, so we're so happy to be back. We are back. This episode, we're really going to be focusing on our traditional agenda. Last episode, we did a little dad talk, which was really cool.
It was cool.
And it was just kind of a fun, silly, shorter episode. And we're excited to be doing that, kind of breaking up our routine and our rhythm, you know?
Yes,
You know,
yes.
make it a little different. But today, we're going to dive into a topic that I've heard from a lot of people. I've thought about myself. I'm really excited to talk about. I'm excited to hear and see what all of you think about it and to get your insight and input as well. But before we get into that, a little housekeeping, right?
Housekeep, man, clean.
So we got our social media. We've got our two dads on a mic, the number 2 dads on a mic. We've got that on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, our YouTube channel. And please follow us, share, like, comment. That's how we keep this going, everybody. You know, we really want to grow this into something that's more than just what it is now. We want to continue it to make it better, to make it larger than life. And, you know, the more people that are involved in this journey, in this process, the more feedback we get. And that's who we're doing it for.
Of course. This kind of happened organically of just us chit-chatting, and we're 10 episodes in, man, and we're just... It's therapy for us and it's knowledge for you.
Right. And if you're new to our show, you know, Zach and I, we met via my wife's salon, and we've just built a kindred friendship since then. And we always wanted to do something together. And this is that something.
This is that
Well, we do a
something.
couple other things together too. But,
True.
But this is that real something.
This is one of many.
Dude, I hope, man.
And much more of owning the world. cheers to owning the world.
Woo! Cheers to episode 10. Cheers to owning the world.
It's happening, man.
It's like Pinky and the Brain.
We're going up.
You remember that show, Pinky and the Brain?
Who's Pinky, who's Brain?
Pinky was the fat rat.
Yeah.
Brain was the skinny rat.
So who's Pinky, who's Brain?
Oh, dude, come on.
I don't know.
Your brain.
Okay. What is
I'm not fat, but
what does Pinky do in the TV show?
what does Pinky do?
Yeah, like what's the...
Oh, he's like the dumb one, and he's always like, "What we gonna do today, Brian?" And then Brain goes, "The same thing we do every night, Pinky." What's that, Brian? We're gonna take over the world.
I'd say
don't you remember Pinky and the Brain?
We're two Pinkies, and we just got to find... Or I mean,
We gotta
we're two,
find the Brain.
Well, Brain's the smarter one, yeah?
Right, that's our wives.
Yeah, true.
We're Pinkies.
There it is.
They're Brains.
There it is.
That makes sense.
Done.
We finally figured that one out.
God, that took forever, man.
So we are excited to talk to you today, get some stuff out there, but we're going to start off with Dad Town, right? Give a little funny story, something that's happened recently, and I think you were sharing with me that you had something great that happened very recently.
Hilarious happened last night. So for those of you who don't know, I DJ, I run special events, lighting, video screens, DJing, all that stuff. Last night at my party, right before we start, kind of chit-chatting with the person who runs the facility, and because I've never been at the venue I was at, and Brian, you don't know this. Encinitas has a no dance law.
I do know this.
Do you?
And let me tell you why I know this. I just found this out.
I just found out, and I'm like, same thing everybody else would say. I'm like, so you have the literal footloose town? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, how is this even possible? And she had said something to do it was like a strip club that was in Encinitas, or like a restaurant or something. I don't even know. Regardless of that, Encinitas in California is a pretty big city, part of San Diego. And I'm like, wait, they have all those, you know, bars down on the coast and this and that. And I'm like, you have dancing there. I'm like, do they have dancing there? I'm like, I guess not, but they have music. So in theory that goes into dancing. So I guess they just don't have a dance. Anyway, no dancing.
So I went to a birthday party at a restaurant in downtown Encinitas. There was a guy playing, and there was a big sign in front of the dude jamming on the guitar that said, no dancing. And I thought it was a joke. I was like, that is ridiculous. Because there was like space. And they're like, no, you can't dance. And like people would start to dance and the waiters and waitresses would tell them, no, you can't dance.
I mean, sorry to be kind of rude, but like what old person...
Get off my lawn!
Who did that? Who would do that?
Why?
Why would you do that?
Who? I'm sure there's plenty of people that are just
it kind of like, it makes me super sad.
It's weird.
Very, very sad. Because what's the end outcome of like Footloose? Like it's a priest pastor and it's like I'm not even that religious in that way, but it's like, I remember them like him busting out, like it's in the Bible, people celebrate. I remember like Kevin Bacon like saying that, and then it was a great outcome of the whole movie.
And it goes against your whole industry.
2018.
Yeah.
You can't dance. I want to know more about this. And then I asked her, I was like, has anybody done like a video on this, like a parody or like something? It could go viral in Encinitas. If you reenacted Footloose to being Encinitas, oh my goodness, it would be surreal. And she's like, yeah, some people have done stuff, but I'm like, have they done it at my level? And they're like, I don't know, but it's just, I can't believe it.
Okay, so we setting the premise here: no dance law.
No dance law. What the heck is this? It makes me mad. It makes me really mad because you celebrate, man. Give me a reason.
So were people allowed to dance at your event?
Yeah, because I told her, I was like, so what's up with this? She's like, I mean, it was a nice facility, and like she's like, just don't tell anyone. I'm like, so no one really follows it.
That is so weird. No, that restaurant, I forget the name. I would mention the name. I don't remember what it was. It's a newer. It's an older restaurant. Well, it used to be like a sandwich shop, and they've turned it into like a nice bar, like a really cool. It was packed. Place was jamming, but big sign, no dancing. I thought it was a complete joke. I thought they had it there. I thought the singer had put it up there as like a joke.
Who goes out there? Like I'm reading this. Restaurant was fined $3,000 for allowing patrons to dance. So do the cops show up and be like, they fine it? What's considered dancing?
Right. What is dancing?
There's workout dancing. What if you're just doing some jumping jacks?
Like, what if you're doing like jazzercise?
Yeah. It's 2018. I'm like, whoever implemented this, I hope he watches one day and like, wake up, man. It's like being racist to me almost.
I think we should get a petition going. What if we got a petition going? Gotten enough people to sign it, right?
I don't know. I don't want to be those people outside the supermarket like, hey.
I know.
Can you get... I ask them 2 questions. Whenever you see those people, I'm like, what's it for? I know you need my signature. What's it for? Really quick. And if I'm interested, I'm like, you don't need to tell me anything about it. I trust you. Or I believe in what you're saying. Just, you don't need to give me a spiel. Here's my signature. If not, I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm like, just leave me alone.
So if there was like, we want to legalize... cannabis in Vista,
like sure,
you'd sign. Boom.
Yeah, I'm like done.
Okay. What if it was like?
What if it was like?
Well, have you ever come across one where has there been one that you can think of off the top of your head? You probably can't. That you've been like, no way, man, I'm not signing that. I don't remember one. I don't really ever ask
stuff
them.
that like is too vague. I think because also I've heard that like these petitions, they're getting your signatures. These signatures could be kind of used for anything. You don't really know. They could be to get someone elected, to get someone into office, and you're just signing it. There's some shicey people out there.
That's funny.
But it's yeah. I don't know. Unless I know everything about it, I don't want. Just don't talk to me. And I don't have time to go research all of it. So I'm not trying to be rude. I'm like, no. And then they still try to push it.
I'm like, hey, man, I know.
It's like,
I don't know if you guys have that where you live, but it's pretty common practice here.
The worst for me is I have no problem helping people out. I love it. It's just good for the soul, this and that. But when I see a family come up to me asking for money and their kids are wearing brand new Nike shoes, they're well dressed, I'm like, and they are overly like, hey. And I've told them, like, get a job. Like, get a job. And I just walk. That makes me very mad.
Well, it's when I see, to that point, when I see families, and there's one here in our area. Mm-hmm. It's a dad, a mom, and like 2 kids.
Up at Albertsons?
Yeah, the dude is literally holding a sign, and he's got 2 little kids with him.
Yep.
Like, that is not okay.
And one might be smashing a Little Caesars pizza while the dad's asking for money.
Totally. It's weird.
I mean,
they must be getting money or they wouldn't continue to do it, right?
I've seen high schoolish kids looking normal, smoking cigarettes, eating Little Caesars pizza up at Albertsons, asked me for money.
No way.
I wanted to punch them in their face. I have no problem saying that. That just irks me so bad.
That's weird.
I feel like they should be not arrested, but like taken to like I always joke, if people can't have things click in their brain, like get kidnapped and taken over to a third world country and live there for a month.
Right.
You'll come back here, appreciate some things.
Right. Well, it goes to the whole premise of there's this really great movie called Lions and Lambs. Lions for Lambs,
Cruise
Lions
in
and
that
Lambs.
one.
Tom Cruise.
A whole bunch of people are in that.
Great movie. Robert Redford movie.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And the two guys in that movie, military guys, they're in college and they come up with this concept for their final thesis to when you graduate high school, you have to do one of two things. One of three things. You have to either join the military, you have to serve for 2 years, a volunteer service, 2 years in one of the top 10 poorest zip codes in the country, or you have to go and go spend time in a third world country volunteering your time. So, or you go to college, right? Like these are your choices when you're out of high school as an American citizen. These are the four things that you can do, right? College, serve your country for your military, serve in one of the top poorest zip codes in the country, or go and serve in another third world country. I think that's a brilliant idea.
I like that. I mean, I do feel the world we live in right now that we take things for granted. Everybody just takes everything for granted. And I feel like if things don't click in someone's brain and you've tried everything to not change, but like, let them see the light and just change their path or what they're doing in life. I always say it. I'm like, I wish it was legal or some like place that someone could sign it over and you get kidnapped or something. You get taken to a third world country and you have to live there for like 6 months.
Yeah.
You will be changed.
Yeah.
In very, very good or very, very bad.
Right.
There is a very downside to that, but it's like sometimes you have no other way to help someone.
Well, you have no sympathy, right? Or empathy. Like you have no idea. And I'll say when I moved to Chicago and I started teaching on the south side of Chicago, and I was around people that were in very, very impoverished situations, and this was in my own country, that I had no clue. I really did not understand that this was possible in America. It was an extremely eye-opening thing for me, and I think what it did is it really opened up my eyes to why I want to really work hard, study and educate myself, my family, my kids, because I don't ever want to have to be in a situation like that. It would be horrible.
What's crazy is you thought that prior to having a child. Now you have a child. Now it's times 10, which is super cool. And the best thing what I've learned and what you'll see is you have the best student you could ever ask for.
Totally.
And, that is, back on what we've been talking about in the subject today, which we haven't even said, but it's going to be, did we say that subject?
No, not yet.
The subject's going to be being honest with your kids.
Yeah.
When should you be honest with your kids? When is it good? When is it bad? And that's what we're going to be talking about today.
Let's dive into it.
Segues right into it.
Dude, that was good. Zach, he always asked me to like segue into things. How do you segue? He segued.
Yeah,
Dude, cheers.
Yeah.
That was a really good segue, bro.
Good segue. What's this? Remember that? What's a segue?
What's a segue? So yeah, I found a really cool article on this. But before we go into the article, that's what we wanted to talk about. Like how honest are you with your kids? When is being too honest like too honest? Do you be honest with your kids? And I think there's so many variables.
Yeah,
dude. I mean, there's so many situations that you could throw this into. But it's a really great topic to hopefully provide you with some insight on our thoughts. Some of the research thoughts that we found as well, and hopefully you can come up with your own conclusion and utilize whatever tools you get from it with your own children.
I'm looking at my notes that I wrote down, and I can't spell, or I just miss letters, and instead of honest with your kids, it says hoest with your kids. I forgot the N.
Is there like an underlining theme to that?
No, I don't know. I just hoest.
Was that you telling about like your celibacy issues with your kids?
Hoest with your kids. It could be something. That's
your Freudian slip right there.
Yeah, bite it, take it.
Well, I found this really great article on romper.com, ROMPER.com, and it's an article by Danielle Campamore, and she titled it 11 Reasons Why You Should Be Completely Honest with Your Kids About Your Past. So she's talking about the honesty with kids about your past, because there's other things like Are you honest with your kids about the Easter Bunny? Are you honest with your kids about Santa Claus? Are you honest? There's other things to be honest about, but this one is specifically about your past. So out of those 11 things, there were 2 that really stood out to me. But the first one was that you'll be more relatable. And you know what? I agree with that.
100%.
I agree that when you are honest with them, they can say that they can see that you're a human, right? And they're a human. And I think that's when you look at kids that get to like the 12, 13, 14, 15 years of age, that's where, as a teacher, right, I saw kids really start to distance themselves from their parents. And I think it's because they don't know how to relate to their parents at that age. Like, they're going through so many weird changes in life. And parents don't ever talk about, oh, dude, I remember when I was going through puberty. I remember looking down there and seeing some hair and being like, oh, my God, what's going on, right? Like, you don't ever talk to your kids. Well, my parents didn't talk to me about that.
No.
And so how do I relate to them?
Yeah.
So how can I even talk to them about that shit if they're not even bringing it up to me?
Well, that's another reason why we can thank our parents is that they didn't do that, because it's opened up our eyes of like what we want to do with our kids now.
Right.
And it's how you deliver it is the key.
Yeah.
And because you have to craft it big time. I don't think I would go just full force into like, if it comes out, just go in and talk about everything. I would maybe sit back and talk to the wifey like, look, I think we got to address this. I think we got to be crafty about it. Don't go into detail on how maybe we did these things, but maybe just kind of say that we did. That's it, because I think the more detail in some of these things of being honest could be bad.
Right.
But just letting them know to be relatable, I think is
So what I hear you saying is like there's a kind of a fine line, right, to where you're honest, but you're not like, you don't have to spill the details.
No.
Like, you don't have to go into like...
You don't got to write a book. Just give the synopsis in the back.
Right. So what she says in this about you'll be more relatable is she says that your kid will see more of themselves in you if you're honest about your life. So think about that. They'll see more of themselves in you, right? When children see their parents on a pedestal, they'll spend more time trying to make their mother and or father happy instead of just focusing on making themselves happy. Does that make sense? So let me say that sentence again. It's kind of a big sentence. When children see their parents on a pedestal, they'll spend more time trying to make their mother and or father happy instead of just focusing on making themselves happy. So they're not focusing on themselves.
Gotcha.
They're trying to like live up to this expectation, and it's probably a false expectation of their parents, right? Instead of just focusing on what they should or shouldn't be doing as a human being. And then she asks a few questions. Do you want to be seen as an authority figure? Of course, but you also always want to be seen as a relatable authority figure, someone safe and understanding that your kid can go to when they need someone the most. And the way I relate that is like a boss. Like if you have a leader, someone you look up to, right? That person that you look up to, those people in your life that you look up to, it doesn't have to be a boss, but maybe it's a mentor or a friend. They're honest with you. That first and foremost, they're honest with you. And secondly, you can always go to them for advice. You can always go to them for their opinion. You can always go to, and those are the people that shape us as individuals. So why would we not want to be that type of leader or that type of influencer on our own kids' lives? Like, what are we afraid of?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, it's a huge, it's not even just about the kids. It's about who you are as a person. I think you got to do double duty,
right?
As raising a child. I mean, we've all met all types of people, parents that are one way with their kids and don't have any relationship, or just maybe they grew up shy. So if they're shy, and maybe they're the greatest parents in the world or know everything, but they're just shy, so they just don't talk to their kids. Who knows? Yeah. But I think just for us, it's just the more we pay attention to everything with ourselves, with our children, with info that's out there, and just then computing that into our brains and then delivering it out to the kids in a manner that is going to be relatable and knowledgeable and just hit all those. But it's practice.
Yeah.
It's practice. Just like raising a child of how am I going to do this? The more you keep tabs and know that, let's say you want to accomplish it with your child. Like, let's say in 5 years, my goal is I want to connect with my kid. Also, I don't know as they become teenagers what's going to happen. I have a lot of clients who have teenagers, and they're like, oh my God, just wait till those years. I'm like, I get it. And I'm even having a kid saying, yeah, but my kid won't be like that. I still say it, and I kind of joke, but I think that I do not have an upper hand, but I'm paying attention day by day, week by week, month by month of what I want to have my kid see me as, grow up as, and just all that. So I'm paying attention. So every decision I make, everything I say has to do something in that realm. And I do feel that not everybody does that. Or I've met a lot of parents that after conversations, I'm like, you don't do any of that, you know? And also I have a different lifestyle where I'm around my child like 24/7 because I have businesses run from home. So blessing and a curse, but I'm able to do those things. And I think the more focus you put on what you want out of your child in teaching them, it will happen.
Well, to your point, and this is why I love what we're doing, because deep inside, I'm an educator, right? Like I love to teach people. I love to like see people grow. And all those parents that say like, oh, just wait until they get here. I wonder how many of them have ever done research or talked about or tried to figure out how do you be honest with your kids?
Yeah, exactly.
And I can't say as a fact, but I would probably say that none. Well, very few.
And I also think we're the first generation, maybe a couple years, maybe I'm 38, maybe the 40, nah, I don't know. Cause like my Uncle Richie, if you're watching this, man, I always think you're like 40. I think he's 50, but you're probably the cusp. He's a unique, amazing dad, and he pays attention. But I think like our generation is focusing and looking at things a little differently. But also it depends how busy you are in life. That's what it comes down to.
Really?
How much time do you have? Like you're saying, people don't put in, research. If you're working 9 to 5 every single day, and you come home, you want to spend some time with your kids, you want to eat some dinner, you want to go to the gym, and all of a sudden it's bedtime.
But maybe that is the time with like
that's when you should research and read the book or read your iPad and go to bed with some knowledge.
Yeah.
Soak that up.
Well, here's my philosophy in life. In order to get, you have to give.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
100%.
So if you want to get a great relationship with your child, you have to give something up in order to get that.
True.
Right? You have to give up something.
And a lot of times it's sleep.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Like you have to give. In order to get, you have to give, right? Mm-hmm. You and Jess with your new business that you've been doing for the year and a half or whatever it's been, right? You've had to give a lot. But because of what you've given, you've also gained.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah.
And you've gained different things. So I think it's a cop out when people are like, I don't have time. Well, you do. You're just focusing your time in the wrong areas, right? Mm-hmm. You have to give in order to get. So with topics like this, we're hopefully making people aware of things that they can start giving to in order to get the knowledge that they need and help build those relationships with their kids and themselves, right?
It's an investment too. And I mean, there's so many business people out there, and when you talk to people in that regards to connect on their level, like, look, treat your child as a business. It's the biggest investment you will ever make in your.
Dude, love that.
They say those words.
My child is my investment.
It's the biggest investment. So wouldn't you want the greatest return for that investment?
Yeah.
And there's so many different categories of returns.
Dude, Kevin Durant mom's happy.
You couldn't pick a better stock than your child.
That's awesome.
That you have control over. You have the best inside info because you can give the info to that child as they grow. You can put the energy into that stock as they grow.
Yep.
And the returns could be massive, and it could be horrible.
Yeah.
And when you look at yourself when the kid is 25 or something and you're just not, happy, well, how much time or investment did you put into that investment?
Dude, I love the energy portion that you're talking about and giving into that. And it's funny, I had a couple teacher friends over here the other day, Sam and Aaron, and they were talking about, my friend Jill, she's a kindergarten teacher, and guess what she has to teach in kindergarten this year?
What?
Sex education.
In kindergarten? What age were you at?
Dude,
I was middle school.
Utah doesn't teach sex education. They teach abstinence.
Until you're married?
At all.
What?
Yeah, until you're married. Like,
really?
You're abstinent until you're married.
Yeah,
so what I had to do is if I wanted to learn about sex education, I had to go to a program in 6th grade. It was after school with my parents, and it was called a maturation program. And they talked to you about becoming a mature adult.
What's maturation or mature?
Maturation, which is like the being of becoming mature.
Well, just right there with what we're talking about, time. So if that was happening right now, I would sit back and say, you know what? I'm not going to do after school classes. I'm going to take this upon myself to teach my child, which honestly, you get taught whatever you do in school and you're going to take it back, and hopefully your child can talk to you about whatever, or you let them know, and all of a sudden you've just saved yourself a year
right
of teaching, of probably not what you want your kid hearing anyway. Back then, maybe, let's say. Now it's, it's changed, but kindergarten?
Well, I
guess, what do they teach?
So I want to give you
slowly getting in.
No, they teach the word vagina.
Okay.
They teach the word penis. They teach the word anus.
I get that because Ari's not even in, and she knows.
So the United States has one of the highest teen pregnancy rates in the world.
Interesting.
Okay?
Interesting.
Sex education in this country is horrible.
Yep.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
Right? There's 22 states that make it mandatory to have such sex education training.
Is Callie one?
22. Yeah, because she's teaching.
Oh, true. Yeah, she's Callie.
So, but then it varies district by district and then school by school on what you have to teach. You can also send a waiver home that says, I don't want my child to learn about this, and the parents can send it back, so they don't even have to learn about it all. So, the Netherlands, they are one of the lowest teen pregnancy rates. Netherlands or the Dutch? Same thing. Netherlands, Dutch.
Wait. Isn't the Dutch the country that you get 2 years paid vacation for mother and father? It's free college. They have the best way to raise to just be a family.
Yeah, they really focus on those family issues, right? And I think what shows with this research is that they start teaching the sex education, and it's a very open conversation, very open conversation about why people have sex, what it is, why people want to have sex. And they start doing this at 5 years old. And what they have found through their research is that it's not an uncomfortable conversation for kids to then go home and have with their parents. You know that? Have you ever been sitting watching a movie with your mom and that sex scene comes on and it's just
Dude, you know who I'm about to blast right now? And his mom, and I don't think I've ever talked to either of them together with it. Corey. Corey went to go see Jerry Maguire with his ma back in the day. And the first scene is Cruz having a little fun time.
Yeah.
Actually, on that note, have you ever, when you lastly started going to movies with your mom, when did you start sitting one seat away? Because that's when it became the cool, when you go with your boys back in high school, you never sit. For me, you always kind of sat one seat away, but
right.
Yeah, in the movie note, yes, I've been there.
Oh, there's nothing more awkward.
But I make a joke
than the
about
living room.
I make a joke.
The
about
living room movie when it's just the family, no friends, just the family, the mom, the dad, the brother, the sister, whatever it is, and then that and the sex scenes are of course the most gnarly.
Or you've seen the movie.
It's like Halle Berry Monsters Ball, and you're just like, oh my god, and it's dead silent, dude, and everybody's so awkward. But I think when you talk about that shit, it doesn't make it so awkward anymore.
Yeah, hence
everybody does it.
I just crack a joke. If I ever see it with my mom now, it's I just joke. Yeah, exactly.
Hey mom, have you ever used that position?
Yeah, right. You're stepping overboard.
But no, seriously, it shouldn't be that awkward because everybody has sex.
Yeah.
Well, not everybody, but 99% of the people in the world probably at some point have sex.
Starting at an early age, I get it. I agree. Because if your kid is talking or saying anything in that category, then yes, I think you should.
Well, and when you talk about your kid as your greatest investment, and you can decide, you can help shape them. You don't want your kid. No one wants their kid to be pregnant at 14. No one wakes up and is like, God, I cannot wait till my kid turns 14 and has a baby. Nobody wants that shit, right? So, doing that is investing in that future for your child, because that's not setting them up for success.
But you're also investing in your time too. Because think about if you don't do that in any category, then that day happens. You're spending the next year trying to unwind to get to the core of what you should have taught a lot of years earlier.
Right. True. No, it's very true. And then a lot of the times, if your kid has if your child has a adolescent or a teen child, you end up taking care of it because they've got to go to school. They still got to get their life on.
I don't know. I mean, damn. If what would it's a whole other category.
Oh, it is. We're diving
a subject
deep here, man.
We shouldn't even. Yeah.
So the second thing that I really liked in this article is that it talks about your past has shaped you into the parent you are. And so what she says is your past is the reason you are who you are, right? Even the painful, embarrassing parts have shaped you into the person you are and have probably contributed to your parenting habits, skills, and choices. If you share your past with your kid instead of hiding it, you're teaching them that the choices they're making now are going to help guide them towards their future selves.
But you got to get to step one of just you as a person, accept that your past has shaped you.
Yeah.
That's the toughest part.
Yeah.
Because people can't accept that all the bad shit that's happened to them, they wish they wouldn't have done it. Whereas me, like everything that's happened, like that is a great statement.
Yeah.
If you can just harness that statement, focus on that, accept it for like a week and just repeat it to yourself, it will change the way you think about things because people dwell about that stuff.
Yeah.
And then you throw a kid in the mix, yeah, it's definitely 100% past shapes you. And I agree.
Dude, you are who you are because of who you were.
I is who I says I is.
Isn't that an Eminem line?
No.
I am whatever I say I am.
Oh, it is.
If I wasn't, then why would I say I am?
True. I think that's from a movie. But yeah, you are right in the Eminem world.
Well, I agree. And your past, you are a direct reflection of your past. Even though you're like, well, I used to be this way, but now I'm this way. Well, it's because you learned from that shit that makes you not that way anymore.
It's such an easy concept to grasp, but no one grasps it. A lot of people don't grasp it.
And people blame their past.
Yeah.
Like,
the worst thing.
but you can't.
You can't change
because
it.
it's what it has shaped you. And if you're still as shitty as you were in your past, apparently you haven't grasped that concept because you aren't learning from it.
Exactly.
And if you can teach that to your kids, what a powerful thing.
Oh, 100%.
Right?
100%.
Like I love looking back on things in life and being like, damn, I was such an idiot. But because I was such an idiot, I am not as big of an idiot anymore.
It's just a different school. That's
right.
all it really is. It's the school of hard knocks, the street smarts, the school of life. That's all it is. You're educating yourself in that way. And what better way to, it's the same thing is when all the research out there of like when things happen with kids, like let's say they fall down or are you supposed to go to them? No, let them figure it out.
Yeah.
It starts so early on. I mean, like I read stuff and I mean, even when they're like 2, like when they want to grab something or they're crying or they're screaming, are you supposed to go to them? No, let them figure it out. It just escalates to different categories in real world as they get older.
Right.
And it's the same thing. So if they make a mistake, it's okay. It's how you communicate after the fact and that would then pop in an honesty world of like something happens and let's say they do something where you know you could have fixed it or they shouldn't have done it or they get in trouble, or they get detention, they get kicked out of class. But then you chat with them after and say, look, this same thing happened to me.
Right.
Blah, 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 whatever it may be. And all of a sudden it's like, bam, thank you, Dad. Thank you. I feel a lot better. I don't feel so bad. I learned from this a little bit, and next time I'm going to try to do it this way.
Yeah.
And then you feel like the greatest teacher in the world.
Yeah, and you know they may not even thank you. You may just see it in their actions.
Yeah.
Right?
You get thanks later on in life when they're 25, 35, 45, and you're like, you know, that's 0.00001% of what, you know, of the other things that are going to be in the recipe to make them, you know, successful for life.
Yeah. I know you found kind of a different point of view article on this topic, right? Did you want to share anything that you found?
Well,
from
I saw something like why wouldn't you want to be honest with your kids? And someone said some professionals believe that being honest with your kids about your own past is simply a way for adults to deal with their own emotions and guilt. So it's more so like what the kid becomes a therapist. I feel like you're just gonna like shovel out everything. It's like, oh, I feel better. That's kind of like how I read it.
Yeah, I think that's what, and I think that is such a ignorant way to look at it. It's almost like you don't use your kid as a sounding board.
You're the parent.
That's not the point of telling him your past. It's not like, oh, well, man, when I did this, oh, woe is me. No, that's not what sharing and being honest with your kids is about. Because I think that's the way that I'm interpreting it.
I know I was kind of like I read that. I'm like I'm torn. So I was just curious of like how you took it in, but I think it's a little pathetic parenting.
It's horrible. I mean, if that's how you're sharing your past with your children,
or that's what makes you
or you're
okay,
bragging about it,
or just makes you mentally okay, like therapy. It's like, you know, once you say like, oh, I feel so much better, I talked about it. Whew, thanks for listening, 13-year-old kid.
Don't do that.
Now go to school.
Yeah.
Go to soccer practice.
That's
like,
right.
really?
That's right. Don't do that.
Yeah, I don't. We would advise.
I would absolutely advise.
That's a don't do that.
Yeah, it's not a way to offload. It's a way to educate.
Yeah. Save it for a night out with the boys or the girls and just vent to them.
You should share that. You should share that article. Who is? Where was that article from? Do you know?
I gotta
do you remember?
research who it was.
Okay, we'll find out who it was, and we'll share with you if we can figure it out. But I just think that that's an interesting way to look at it. I understand why people would look at it that way. I get the point of view, but I don't agree with it.
It was on professorshouse.com.
Professorshouse.com. Do you remember the name of the article?
Being honest with your children about your past.
Okay, so check that one out. The thing that I love about this is that it gives you 2 articles to look at from different points of view. And I think I'm going to be honest with you right now. If I go into the essential components of this, our daducation that I'm getting from this, mine is that I am not an expert by any means in this field of what I should or shouldn't share with my children or how I should or shouldn't share it. But what it's making me want to do is research it more, look into some data on how doing it the best way is the way to do it, and then come up with my own plan and my wife's plan to do it, because I want to be honest with my children. I do not want to hide things from them, and I want to make sure that we're having great and beneficial conversations.
Well, that's
together.
where it's different. How I keep coming back to like how our parents, it's way different. And of course, it's because of the internet. It's 100% because you say something, you can't really get by on certain things because you can just go research or whatever it may be. But we have to be more honest with our children because of the access of information they have.
Right.
You know, before, if it's like drugs and alcohol, well, you don't really have that much access to anything except seeing people do it. That's it. Or hearing about it. Whereas now it's like, oh my God, or a movie. But now it's just, they have access to everything. So we as parents, this day and age, you know, put some research into it. How you want to go about doing whatever it may be. And yes, at an earlier age, more so, because the second they can pick up an iPad,
oh yeah,
that's when you have to start educating your child. You really do. Because they take the iPad, they're watching whatever it may be, and all of a sudden they're like, what are you watching? And it's, let's say it's a history on marijuana. I don't know, whatever it may be. Their brain's soaking that up.
Yep.
You know, right away.
They have access to everything.
And if you don't want to, let's say at a young age with an iPad, then focus on how to parent that iPad and how to, like, trust me, I've already tried to figure it out and have just like, what can they watch? What there's so much stuff because of the internet. It's a great thing. It's a bad thing, you know, whatever. I love it. It's amazing. But you have to, the second they pick up an iPad, you have to start educating on kind of anything that comes up in conversation with that significant other.
And that just deals with being honest. So for you, the climbing the dad, or getting to that next rung of being an awesome dad, what is it that you've learned from this research and this topic?
I think it just clarifies what I want to do and believe in is keep getting knowledge on raising the child, and when any topic comes up, talk about it. I don't care what it is. If I feel at that moment I have to talk about it because it's really in their brain, then I will talk about it. If not, be like, you know, Aria, do you mind, you know, like later on tonight, or we can sit down bedtime, instead of reading books, we're going to chit chat about this and make it fun. You know, that's the thing with kids too, is like make them want to learn about it rather than just like, we got to sit down, we got to chat. You know, find other ways. Research. The internet, again, is the most powerful place in the world. Research. I bet if you research a fun game way to teach your kid about sex, I guarantee there's a million out there. Find it, and it's going to better you as like a better speaker, a better connector. And all of a sudden, you do that with your kid, and you taught your kid how to do something, whatever. And you go to your job the next day, and you have to do a presentation. You're like, I feel good.
Yeah,
I feel prepared.
Yeah.
And who knows? I mean, all this stuff is beneficial. The more you give, the more you get.
Right. No, I love it. And you know, just going back into, that's why we do this, right? Making ourselves better, hopefully bringing more awareness to you, our audience. And what a cool topic.
Yeah, it's cool.
So my ask of all of you out there is to do your own research on this. Figure out where your comfort zone is, but still engage in it and embrace the fact that you need to be honest with your kids on whatever level is comfortable for you, but it's also going to be beneficial for them. You've got to think about them as well. You can't just think about what you're comfortable with, right? You've got to break that barrier.
Always, my theory too is always meet in the middle. You never go too extreme, never go below whatever, and just meet in the middle. The middle in certain things for me is just not safe ground, but it makes it a doable goal.
Right.
That's what it comes down to, a doable goal. Rather like, I want to teach my kid all this, I want to do all this, whatever it may be. Just find the middle so it's doable.
Yeah, I agree. So, moment of datitude. This is our last segment of this episode.
Datitude.
So, do you have a moment of datitude?
I had one like 2 nights ago. Aria still, my daughter, like 50% of the time she'll wake up at like, you know, anywhere from 1 in the morning to 3 in the morning to 4 in the morning, and she'll just want to come in our bed. And at first, and I think I said this past episodes, I'm like, I don't want this. I don't want to start this routine. And then some days I'm like, yeah, I don't mind this. But she always wants to go to my wife. And then I feel bad because like it's an uncomfortable sleep, let's say, for the last 3 hours. But now I found out a way of like, I'm just going to, I tell my daughter before we go into if you want to come in mommy daddy's bed, you have to cuddle with daddy. Is it okay? Yes. She gets it.
Just to cuddle with you?
Just to cuddle with me.
Nice.
So I put a pillow.
Why?
Well, because then Jess can get a decent next couple
Okay,
hours
okay,
of sleep.
okay. Gotcha.
Because Arya kicks and moves and whatever it may be. And,
Gotcha.
And
So
I
you're
put a
taking
pillow.
you're taking that responsibility. It's nice of you.
Yeah. So and she sees it.
Nice.
She's like, thank you for doing that. And then, but a couple nights ago, or I think 2 nights ago, she came into the bed. I didn't say anything, and then all of a sudden, I just like she was moving and whatever, and she wasn't going back to sleep. I'm like, Ari, and I didn't say anything, and she just rolled over and literally just cuddled under my arm, dude, and it was pretty awesome. And then like I kind of already thought that I don't mind her sleeping in bed, but now I'm like, I don't care. I mean, like I won't have this time again at all. It's not like at this stage where we're at, where she's been doing it so much. I'm like, it's not creating habits. She's already slept through the nights many times, so it's like 50% of the time, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I think just being honest with her, like, hey, you're not gonna always be able to sleep in mommy and daddy's bed, but I'm here for you, like, because Molly and I have talked about that, the whole kid sleeping in the bed thing.
But again, you don't have control. Zero. For me, I will tell you right off the bat, you have zero control. Zero. You can, but you have to get ready for screaming fits.
Right.
Nights of not sleeping.
Right.
Just because she's going to want to come in. But you find ways to kind of hack it in a way of like, our daughter always has a juice in the morning. That's like a big way of her to get like greens. She loves this green juice. I'm like, thankfully she gets some kind of vegetables because she doesn't eat broccoli or anything. So another thing, she'll want to come in our bed and she's like, I want juicy. I'm like, fine. If you're going to come in our bed and you want a juice, you have to sleep next to daddy. I'm going to put a pillow. Okay.
Sweet.
Like she's on it, but it's consistency.
Dude, it's
so
awesome.
You have to just be ready for that, for what you want. If you think
I love it, man. I think that's an amazing moment of daditude. For me, it's being able to watch the sunrise while I am feeding my child in the morning. It is like, so the way the nursery is, we have a window, and I can sit in this window, and I always feed her at 5 o'clock in the morning. It's about 5 o'clock in the morning, and I sit, and it's just like this peaceful moment. She's awake. I'm feeding her, and the sun is literally rising, and it's the most serene, beautiful thing I've ever been a part of. And I'm such a sissy lala when I talk about things like this, but it's okay. I'm okay with that part of myself.
DJ Sissy Lala.
Sissy,
no, it's like DJ Sissy Lala. Wah, wah.
And I look forward to it every single day. Normally I get to sleep in until 6:37. I have to get up now at 5 a.m. with her to do that because my wife gets to get some sleep, and it's something I look forward to every day, and I'm so grateful for it. So that's my moment of daditude.
All right. Awesome. 2 amazing daditude moments.
Yeah.
Cheers to dadituding.
Dude, all of you need to have some dadituding.
Seriously, sit back.
Don't forget
relax.
about that shit.
Daditude, mamatude.
Yeah,
momming,
mamatude.
This goes both avenues, you know.
Parentitude.
Parentitude. I like dadituding.
Dadituding? Like
yeah, dadituding.
Dude, tooting is a whole new word to me these days.
Just wait till you start pumping the kid's legs to gas.
Oh,
it's the funnest game.
I do it. Oh,
yeah.
I do that.
Yeah,
it's hilarious. I go back and forth. I do the running man. It's awesome, dude.
It's amazing.
It's so funny. Well, that brings us to the end of the episode.
I think that's it.
Well, thanks so much, everybody, for once again watching, following, sharing, liking, everything that you're doing to just keep us going. We've had so many people reach out and say, hey, you guys, doing a great job. Keep it up. There's been questions. There's been support, and we love doing this. And so thank you all. Continue to share, like, follow, subscribe, all those things. Please, please, please let other people know about this. Let other people know what we're doing and get them involved as well. We want to create a community around this whole dadding momentum concept because, you all deserve to be amazing parents or deserve to be amazing dads. And hopefully we can just help you in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah. So I was gonna say something, but I don't need to. You summed it up there.
I can
Nailed
do
it.
that.
Nailed
I
it.
can just make people speechless
on the fly.
But anyway, my name is Brian Boyd,
and I'm Zach Gittler,
and we are 2 dads
on a mic.